Hey guys! So I thought it would be fun to show you what's in my art bags. I was just about to organize them and I was like, maybe I should put that on YouTube as a video. So I have two bags that I have my art supplies in that I keep next to me on the couch. So a lot of my artwork, even though I have this like cute little studio here, is done on the couch, partially because this studio is shared with my husband. It's also his office for work, and also because we have a little 6-month-old baby. So I just wanted to go over these two bags that I have downstairs with me at all times. And sometimes I come up here and I switch out different products and different mediums. And then I just thought that would be a really fun video. Okay, so we can start with this bag here. So I got this bag at Jungle Gyms, which is like this kind of world market, supermarket, international market in Ohio. And this is the Totoro bag. It's supposed to be for lunch, but I just thought it was cute. It was like $4. So I was like, let me snag that and I can put my art stuff in it. So the first thing I have are clips. I use these for pretty much everything. I put my easel up and I'll clip my palette to the easel, or I'll clip my pages down. So I keep a couple of those on me. And then I know this is controversial, but I do like to sketch with mechanical pencil. So this is just some brand I got off Amazon. And it came in this set of mechanical pencils, which I thought I had. Oh, here it is. So it came in this set. So it came with a bunch of pencils. If I can get this open. It came with a bunch of pencils, but it also came with a ton of lead, like probably too much lead. I'm not going to go through all of this. So I have this in my office and I keep up here. And then when I just need to replace something, that's what I do. I also keep one of these in my work bag with my work sketchbook. So when I have a lunch break, I'll occasionally go and sketch. So this is my current favorite palette that I've been using a lot. And I actually have a fun video coming up with a gallo. So I did go a little crazy and I bought just about every a gallo pan there was, except for the new luminescent set. When I was talking to the a gallo team about completing the collection, they and myself had forgotten that they just released that set. So that is not in my order, and maybe in a couple of months I will pick it up and be able to completely complete the collection. But for now, I spent way too much money, so I just wasn't going to add it on after the fact. But this is the 48 pan set. When I was initially going and deciding like what set I wanted to first purchase from them, it was between the 36 natural and this set. And after doing research, I found this had a very beautiful mix of vibrant and natural shades. So I'm glad I did go with this to start. But soon I'll have all of them, and I'm very excited for that. And I know that sounds a little ridiculous, but I really, really like this brand and I love these paints. And I just got in this like collector spirit and I just wanted to collect them all. So this is the swatch card I keep with it. And then this is the envelope it comes with when you first make your order. And then they provide like a sample card. So I'll probably leave this in my office because I don't need it anymore. But the swatch card is Arches cold pressed watercolor paper, and it's my first time using Arches, and I just really loved how the colors bled as well as how they granulated. So Naturno is like a really gorgeous color, and I've loved using that for shadow shades. And then Lapis Lazuli I've been using a lot for skies, and I really like how that turns out too. As well as like olive green deep and sap green. When you mix these two together, it granulates so beautifully. It gives like this very earthy tone with like some brownish kind of muddy textures. Not muddy in like you mix too many colors bad way, but muddy like if you were to look at soil outside and see specks of brown. That's kind of what these two give together. So I really love that. And then trans red oxide I've been really loving as well. And buff titanium has been a nice mixer. So this is the A Gallo set. It's a little messy right now, but you can see how creamy these paints are. And, you know, I've been using them quite a bit, and you can barely tell I've made a dent. Maybe here you can see that I've worked it a little bit, this one here. But like for my most used colors being these 4 greens and then buff titanium, it barely looks like I've used them at all. So love this set. Love having this with me next to me on the couch. I do not treat it as a precious purchase, even though it is a precious purchase. And I think the reason for that is I just, I spent my money on it. I want to use it. So, and I'm trying not to be precious with my art supplies. You'll see a couple of things that just look like they've never been touched. And it's because I'm so careful with them. But I have been trying to use them a bit more. So I do keep it in this little dust bag. Nice and tidy. And then the next thing I have is my sketchbook. So this I started in May of 2022. And then I picked it back up in 2025. So I think if we look here, like this was May of 2022. This was May of 2022. And then this was September of 2022. And this was June of 2023. And those were like the only paintings I did. And then I found this sketchbook again. So now it's 2025 and I've done a couple of pieces and a couple that I've shared with you guys online. And I pre-sketch a lot of these paintings. So I'll have like a whole sketch day and then I'll have a like painting sesh. So you'll see like things that I need to work on, things that I need to paint that are just chilling in here, ready to go. So yeah, that's kind of how I like to do my process. Is I like to sketch one day and then paint the next day, and that way I'm not getting out too many mediums and I'm not stressing myself out. And then I also have this little sketchbook that I use as notes. So when I was doing pour paintings, I would prep and I'd write my prep notes in here, and then I would write kind of my inventory, some tips if I was doing research online, some sales when I was selling those paintings, name suggestions, like the Western River I did for my mom. Then I did like the paints that I used so I could remember the mixtures if I wanted to try and recreate the painting. Then I have another sketchbook here. So I'm rotating between 3. I'm rotating between these 2 and my work sketchbook. So I keep this sketchbook at work for lunch break sketches. Nothing serious, just a lot of little doodles. And then this is my painting sketchbook. And then this is just for sketch studies. So there's a couple of methods I like if I'm studying structure, I like to take notes on what I'm seeing. So I did that with like some wolves and some bears. And then sometimes I do like some fun little doodles, little sketches using colored pencils, watercolor pencils. Sometimes I'll activate with just a little bit of water, but not too much. And then I do have this little pencil pouch, and it has all of my acrylic gouache. So I have Turner, I have Holbein. I think those are the only 2 brands, like the Japanesque Turner paints I really like. Then I have the pastel. I have a couple of those. But that's what I have in there. And I haven't been painting with acrylic gouache too often. I have a traditional gouache set, like a wet palette in the fridge. And I've been using that more. And then I just have some paper towels in this little baggie. I have another little set. This is a Bower and Bird travel palette. And I love the Bower and Bird palettes because they're so pretty, but the bigger ones have words on them and I just don't like that. So in here I have Daniel Smith, and then I have Sui Gouache. And then I do have these graphite colors, which I don't use very often, but they are very, very pretty. So I keep them downstairs in case I feel inspiration to actually use them. But you can see I've used them a little bit, just not too much. And then this little palette has, what are they called? Shinhan. Okay, so this is Shinhan watercolor. And then that Sui Gouache, I just used the rest of the Sui Gouache collection that I have and put that in here. So there's a few colors in here that's not in here. And I just like the transparent watercolor and the traditional gouache and having those together. I think they work very nicely, and they look nice on palettes. And then I do have this little mint thing, and it has some of my spare A Gallo watercolors that I won from a contest. And I have a video, I should probably put that on YouTube, of me going through my contest winning. So another artist did like a giveaway. So I guess it wasn't a contest, it was more like a giveaway. And I won the giveaway, and she sent all of these lovely samples, as well as these A Gallo paints, and then this watercolor paint. So I did swatching. Let me see if I can find that. So I did swatch what she sent from Aya's Papercraft. Aya's Papercraft, yeah. And she's on YouTube and Instagram. And then I have another, so she sent me this envelope as well, but just some more samples of like Caran, which I've never used that brand, but I do really like their watercolors, at least from these samples. And then more A Gallo samples. So shout out to her. Thank you for sending those. It was very exciting. I never win anything, so I was stoked. And then my husband got me for Christmas this Rembrandt palette. And I haven't used the brush, but I have used the palette quite a bit. So love that. And then the last thing in this bag is a Faber-Castell Pitt artist pin. So I've already showed you an overview, but it's just like a little purse, and then I keep this pouch in there, and this has all of my watercolored pencils. So I have the Faber-Castell's Albrecht Dürer pencils, and then I have some brush pens that I need to fill with water, and then I have Derwent ink tints. I keep calling these Graphitint, but I guess they're the ink tints. And I really like these. These are super buttery. I like having them all together. And then I have my Caran Neocolor 2s, and I keep these in their set. And I've used these for a couple of pieces, but you can tell I have not used them very often. Like I've used this green quite a bit. And then some of these other colors I've used lightly. And then I have this Faber-Castell matte graphite, which I've never used. So I put them in my bag not too long ago to encourage myself to use them, and I've still never used them. So again, buying things that I'm not using, it's really bothering me. So I need to use these. And then I have this brush cleaner. I just clean off my brushes, which are downstairs in a cup. So I don't keep those in the bags. I just keep them on the table in a cup. And then I have this pencil, and this has all of my Holbein colored pencils, another mechanical pencil. And I like Holbein a lot. Amazon was doing like a big sale, so I snatched them up while they were only like $2 instead of $8. And then I have brush and micron pens in here. And like some of these pens. So I like those. And then in here, I just have some more fine liners and micron pens. Stick in there. And then some art markers. And I never use the art markers. I'm not a fan of how they bleed to the other page. That really bothers me, so I end up just not using them. Then the last thing I have is another one of those I really need to use this more kind of things. So I got this Caran Gouache. This was like a YouTube made me buy it. I was seeing it all over YouTube, and I was like, maybe I'll try it. And I haven't. I swatched it. You can see I swatched it here. And I just didn't love it. I didn't love the colors. I hate the emerald green. This is just not a green for me. I don't like the brown. I don't like the violet. I just didn't like it. So maybe I'll do a giveaway and give this away, because it's only been used to do these swatchings. And I've never even opened this. And I've never even used the paintbrush. So I don't know. If anybody wants this, let me know. I hate that I bought it and I don't use it. So if you want it, let me know. But that is everything in my art bag. So I am going to, oh, and I'll show you, like this is the other bag. I'm going to put those away now. And if you made it to the end of this video, you're a champ. Thank you so much for watching. If you don't already, you can hop over to Instagram and follow me, Kat Dixon Sketchbook. And if you comment on one of my photos and say that you came from YouTube, then I will follow you back. Thanks for watching. Bye.